Hello and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Recap. We're here at Memorial United Methodist Church where we love God, grow faith, and serve others. We do that every single day of the week, but especially on Sundays.
Especially Sundays.
So as you can see, today is a very special day. I've got Derek on the podcast. We were supposed to have a member of my youth group, but he fell through at the last moment and he wasn't able to make it today. So I got another member of my personal youth group here. This is my son, and I'll let him introduce himself. So, boy, who are you? You got to talk into that guy.
My name is Lane, and I am 7 years old. Today we learned about...
Hang on. Look at that. He's a natural at podcasting.
He's already ready to go.
He's not like me, though. Like, I like to do a lot of the fluff, and he's just ready to get down to business.
He's
right?
my kind of guy.
So Lane is a faithful member of the United Methodist Church, right? Our family is a member of this church at Memorial United. What all do you love to do? Talking to the mic, don't forget.
I love Jesus, and I also like to do a lot of stuff.
Like, what kind of stuff do you like to do? Not just at the church, at home. Do you love animals? Or
I really like animals, and I really wish that I could be a zookeeper one day.
A zookeeper one day. That's a very good goal.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, what about at the church? Do you do anything fun at the church?
Yeah, sometimes downstairs I play, and we also learn about Jesus, and I love when we do that.
Yeah, that's really fun, isn't it? So what did we learn? So today you get to go down for the children's sermon, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what did we do during the children's sermon today?
We learned about building stuff up and knocking it down.
Wait. What kind of stuff did you build up? Did you get to do an activity with Pastor Ron?
Yeah, we made a tower out of Legos, and we knocked it down.
Yeah, you knocked it all down, didn't you?
Was it a leaning tower?
Yeah.
Made out of pizza?
It was a leaning tower at Farmington. So what was that all about, though? Because the tower was supposed to represent a temple, right?
Yeah, and Jesus was telling everybody that the temple would get knocked down, and he was telling his disciples that there would be people out there that are saying, I'm Jesus, the end is near. And he said, don't believe that, because they're just trying to make you believe them.
Yeah, that's true, man. Well, I think the podcast is over.
It's done.
I mean, that was pretty much it today, right? Hey, well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to say? Bye. Say see you later, all your Fortnite peeps. No? This is going on YouTube.
I know.
Yeah, you know. All right. Hey, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right? Put your shirt down, dude. What are you doing? All right, go over there.
Good job, man.
All right. So Lane gave you the abbreviated version, and I love to have kids. Our church is growing, and it's growing from that younger generation up, isn't it?
Absolutely. We started off with just a few.
Yes.
And then in a matter of months, we have, almost 20 to 30?
Yes, that's right. And you know that the what do they call it? The youth thing. I'm drawing a blank. The kids moments.
Kids moments.
The kids moments. The steps are just full. You know?
Right.
And it just makes my heart so happy. And you know what? They're getting something from it. They're getting something from the kids' moments when they go up there. You saw Lane was able to just completely reenact or recite everything that they had talked about. You know?
Right. And he was a good helper today.
Oh yeah,
He was a good guy.
He made sure that the tower was absolutely dismantled, every single piece of it.
And he helped pick it all up.
That's
all
impressive. Up. He's a good helper. He's a good kid. Our church is full of good people and good kids, you know?
Absolutely.
So anyway, today, let's jump in. Let's dive just a little bit, just a touch deeper than what Lane did.
Okay.
And I'm going to start off. I think we have to read both Bible verses that we went over today. I think we have to start with the Old Testament and Isaiah. We'll put a pin in it, and then we'll jump into the New Testament. But Pastor Beaton's sermon started that way. I don't always do that, but whenever he makes references to both, I feel like we have to.
Right.
So we're in Isaiah, and I got so excited about Lane getting here, I didn't mark my page, but Isaiah 65, 17 through 25. So I am at 65, 15, 17 through 25. Okay.
Here we go.
The glorious new creation. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind, but be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy, and its people as a as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or the cry of distress. No more shall there be in it an infant that dies but a few days, or an old person that does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 years will be considered youth, and one who falls short of 100 will be considered accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant, another eat. For like the days of the tree shall be the days of my people, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain and bear children for calamity. They shall be offspring blessed by the Lord, and their descendants as well. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox, but the serpent, its food shall be dust. They shall not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain. So, like I said, kind of keep that in mind. Put a pin in it. We'll be right back to it. I'm going to read the New Testament, which the New Testament lesson comes from Luke, and it's Luke chapter 21, 5 through 19. The destruction of the temple foretold. When some were speaking about the temple, how it was adorned with beautiful stones and gifts dedicated to God, he said, and this is Jesus speaking, as for those things that you see, the days will come when not one stone will be left upon another, all will be thrown down. They asked him, Teacher, when will this be, and what will be the sign that this is about to take place? And he said, Beware that you are not led astray, for many will come in my name and say, I am he, and the time is near. Do not go after them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for these things must take place first, but the end will not follow immediately. Then he said to them, Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and plagues, and there will be dreadful portents and great signs from heaven. But before all this occurs, they will arrest you and persecute you. They will hand you over to synagogues and prisons, and you will be brought before kings and governors because of my name. This will give you an opportunity to testify. So make up your minds. Do not prepare your defense in advance, for I will give you the words, and a wisdom that none of your opponents shall be able to withstand or contradict. You will be betrayed, even by parents and brothers, by relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. But you will be hated by all because of my name, but not a hair on your head will perish. By your endurance, you will gain your souls. Man, that's a lot of reading.
It's a lot.
Okay. Completely different sides of the spectrum. If I drew a picture of this, if you said, Scott, you have to draw a picture of this, I would draw a yin-yang, right?
Right.
The scripture that we read in the Old Testament was Isaiah, right? And that was talking about Jerusalem being built up and it being really cool and it being really nice. And it said the lion will eat straw like the ox and this and that. And
right.
The serpent's food will turn to dust. I feel like God doesn't care for the serpent.
Kind of a betrayal there going on, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he took everything he built up and kind of gave man a little test.
So in Isaiah, it is this beautiful yin, right?
Right.
It's this beautiful Picture of peace and hope,
Tranquility.
And it's like the suffering is going to end, right?
Right.
But then
We take a 180.
we take a left turn. When I lived in New Orleans is one of these areas where it's really crazy. Like, you drive down a street and it's these big, giant, beautiful houses, and you take a left at the end of the street, and it's like nasty, torn down like buildings, right? And that's what this makes me think of. Like, we were going down the street, and I'm like, man, Jerusalem sounds like a good place. And then we jump into the Gospel of Luke and go, wait a minute, Jesus, this doesn't sound like the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think of, the earlier scriptures being kind of like whenever they were on the right path.
Right.
And then with the new one, it's not about building a temple for God. It's look at everything we have in our temple.
Okay.
Look at us.
Sure. I think that like the scripture in Isaiah is about restoration.
Yep.
Luke is about destruction. But this temple that they're talking about in Luke is the manifestation of God's promise. And that's how I think the people and the disciples see it. They see this temple as this is the physical manifestation of God's promise to us,
right,
as a resurrected people. And I know that I have been in buildings that did that to me. I have seen pictures. Of course, I haven't been to like the Sistine Chapel, but I have seen pictures of it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Our church here is absolutely beautiful. My church that I went to in Park Hills was absolutely beautiful, right?
Right.
These buildings, they are almost physical. It's easy to understand how one would look at this. And we're very protective of our buildings.
Right, we are.
Right?
I mean, really.
We've got a whole committee of people that are that do nothing but maintain our buildings, right?
And we have people that donate a tremendous amount of money to make sure that happens.
That's right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But what Jesus is saying here is that there will be a day when not a stone of this temple is still intact.
Right.
There will be a day when none of this is standing. And this kind of makes the disciples go, wait a minute, what? The record scratch?
Yep.
You know? Yeah. I can't do that. But you know what I mean? Like when the record's playing in the movies and they stop it, like pull the needle off of it, you know? Like, wait. What are you saying? You're saying that the temple isn't going to be here? What do you mean? This is a physical manifestation of God's promise to us.
Yeah. And
Jesus says, yeah, it will come crumbling down, and then proceeds to tell them that all these bad things are going to happen. Now, my knee-jerk reaction is fear because of this scripture, right?
What's going to happen?
Well, he said in his sermon, if your reaction to this is fear, you need to examine why. And you need to probably try and figure out where God is on your priority list.
Yep.
It's kind of what I heard. That may be a paraphrase. I may be paraphrasing that, but that's okay. I think that the point here is Jesus is saying if you are comfortable because of the things around you, you need to somewhat re-examine where God lies in priority in coming life. Right?
Right.
Is that kind of what you got?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was saying about the old temple, new temple.
Yes.
Where I was getting at. Not that, it's coming down, but, I feel that, there's a point in time where we feel like we're being lifted up, and then we get comfortable with that, and we're just happy sitting in that pocket.
That's right. Well, so Jesus, the disciples say, okay, well, when is this going to happen? And Jesus answers them directly and gives them a date, doesn't he?
No.
No.
He says, well, this is going to happen. This is going to... But just because these things are happening doesn't mean that the end is here. It just means that they've happened and they've got to happen.
Right. Jesus doesn't give a direct answer because when does he ever give a direct answer?
He usually gives a parable.
He usually does. He usually speaks in parables. And I wish that I could have been around Jesus, not just for this reason, but interestingly enough, I wish I could have been around Jesus to go, to see him ask for you to pass the bread, or to answer. Like if you asked, Jesus, would you like some bread? I just wonder what his response would have been.
There once was a...
You're right. So we get to the end. So yes or no? Did you need the bread or not?
I'll just pass it.
And he says, yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Wrong again. And he said, he speaks in parables, right? He didn't give us a straight answer, but he said all of these things are going to happen. But just because these things are going to happen doesn't mean that that's the end. The end will be here when it is here.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess.
It's going to happen when it's going to happen. No man knows when the end is near.
That's right. So, can you imagine? Well, then he talked about, Pastor Beaton gave us something really crazy. He said that Luke, the Gospel of Luke, was written and published about 50 years after Jesus was crucified. So we're talking about like 70 AD, right?
Yeah.
So all this stuff has happened. The Roman armies have besieged Jerusalem by the time that this book of the Bible is published and out to the masses. So can you imagine reading this, and it's almost a historical account?
Yeah. You know, as we read through history, we're finding more and more stuff corresponds to the things that are written.
Yeah.
You know.
So can you imagine being a citizen of Jerusalem and you have gone through your family, because 50 years is a generation, right?
Right.
You know, 50, 70 years is like a generation. So your grandfather, your father maybe, went through the stuff that's being described in the Bible. I just can't imagine reading that and going, yep, that's what happened, right?
I can imagine being the person that lived before that, have it told to them that it would happen, and then it come to pass.
Well, and Jesus is letting us know, kind of what we were talking about earlier, Jesus is letting us know that the security that we feel right now is an illusion.
Right. It's not going to stay around. That's what I kind of took with his closing at the end. You know, if you feel like that you're down and the end is near and it comes, you're like, finally. And
that was so mind-blowing to me.
And I think that's something that has to be said, because, you know, there are people out there that are down and they're like, thank God this is over.
Yes.
And then you have people that are in power, that have all this power, and anybody challenges that, or that they get any kind of bit uncomfortable, they don't like it, they throw a big fit, and how dare you take me out of my comfort zone because I've built this up. So
he said, is this scary to you? And if it is it because you benefit from the notion or the comfort of an illusion?
Yeah.
And that hit me so hard, because it's not necessarily that I have all the money in the world, because, you know, heaven's mercy, I do not.
I'm a teacher. My wife's a teacher. We
Right.
sure don't have all the money in the world.
But I benefit from the comforts that I have, and
Yeah.
I enjoy my life. I love it. And the notion of death does scare me a little bit, right?
And there's some comfort. You know, as a teacher, we don't make a lot of money, but our retirement is really good.
Well,
and one of the things that I was kind of talking about with, you know, being comfortable with where I'm at, you know, if I had to go to a 401k, heaven forbid I have to do like everybody else does and work till I'm 60, 65.
Correct.
Just to build something up so that I can retire.
Right.
I'm comfortable with my retirement being there, and I'm satisfied that it is going to be there. And if anybody challenges that, then teachers get pretty upset, and especially if you're already retired.
Well, there's a lot in the Bible that comforts me, but nothing more than blessed are the poor, for they will inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
So it's mine.
Take it away. I'm there.
Yeah, no, but I look around and I'm like, I love my life. There's very, of course, there are things that I could improve here or there or whatever, but like by and far large, man, I'm having a lot of fun, and I've got great friends and I've got great family. Sometimes they behave, just not during the podcast, but sometimes there are things, of course, right? But like by and far large, I don't want to go anywhere, right? But I admire people, so I know I have a person in my life, and I don't want to share how. Just because I don't want to call them out or anything, but I have a person in my life that is early 80s and had gotten sick and went to the hospital, and she was very close to our family, still is close to our family, and she said, if it's my time, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go and see Jesus. Yeah. And to think like that is exactly what we're talking about here. That attitude, right? Surrounded with comforts, ready to give it up immediately to go and be with Jesus, right?
Listening to
without
God,
fear.
Right, listen to God's call and be willing to sacrifice literally everything to do what is necessary.
And that is easy to say.
Ask me to do it.
Yeah.
Ask me to do it. I mean, I'm not going to have a lot of willpower in that.
That's what I'm saying. It is so easy to say, okay, I'm 33. Yeah, I'm ready to go, but not tomorrow.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I don't know that there'll be a day when I'm like, yeah, tomorrow would be okay. Right?
It's today.
And it's not up to me. Right? But just the notion that you have to be okay with the tower crumbling.
Right.
With the temple falling. And if you can come to grips with that, then you are in the right spot kind of spiritually, right?
Is your faith strong enough to withstand devastation?
Right. And then like he said, and the mind-blowing part for me was the end of the sermon when he said, think about the flip side of the coin. For every person that is here that is saying, ooh, I don't know, I've got it pretty good. There's a person out there that when God promises the temple were coming down and it is going to change, your life is going to change, they say it's about time.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That is exactly. But I kind of had trouble following it. So part of the podcast here, we call this sermon review. So it's my job to kind of go through it and break it down, and we talk about it. But part of reviewing things or telling you how I interpreted it, right?
Right.
So I see a lot of sermons. I mean, I'm here every Sunday. You're here every Sunday. We see a lot of sermons. And part of this today, and it wasn't any fault of Pastor Ron's or the structure of his sermon, but I was having trouble following exactly the thought process and following the thread. But it was one of those sermons that I really enjoyed because it was broken for me. The thread was here and it was here, and I was going, why are we here in Isaiah? And then fast forwarding, why is it the yin and the yang? And then he said, for every one of us that is terrified at the thought of our world coming crumbling down, there is someone, because our life is going to have to change.
Right.
Because what we are doing is going to be different. There's a person that goes, it's about time.
And I think that was where he cinched the needle.
Yes.
He threads this little stitch together, and sometimes we don't see how it's going to fit.
Yes.
But then you pull it taut at the end, and it's like, okay,
110%.
I get that.
110, and that's what I was going to say. That once he said that, all these spots that I thought were broken went shing, and I went, oh. It was like an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie.
We had to watch those in our EDD class, and it was like, why are we watching it? And at the end, it's like, okay.
Yes. All of those movies all of his stuff is like that. Like Shutter Island, I think he did that, and The Sixth Sense, and
yes.
You watch those movies and you're just like, what is going on? It almost, like you pass through the first 2 hours and you're like, whatever, and then the ending happens, you're like, oh, I get it. That's how this sermon was for me today.
Congratulations, Pastor Ron. You are now M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. Yeah, so that's what it was for me. So I think that, like I said, part of doing this podcast is to try and make people understand too. If you come and you're confused, that happens. That happens to me. It doesn't happen as often as it used to because I'm getting really familiar with the scripture, right? And I kind of am learning how it all intertwines. Yeah, how the Old Testament is kind of the foreshadow of the New Testament. The New Testament is kind of the action, the stuff from the Old Testament coming to life, right?
Right.
So I'm starting to understand that, but that doesn't mean that I don't come in here on a random Sunday and go, man, I've got no idea what he's got it.
Right.
But that's not to say that every Sunday you're going to get it.
Right.
You may have to go and read a little bit.
And that's the good thing about these is we can talk about it, and through talking and kind of trying to teach others, you learn a lot more than sometimes just sitting through it and listening to it.
100%.
And I feel that's kind of, the importance of Sunday school too.
Yes.
It's person taught, not a preacher, so that the person's really learning a lot. Mm-hmm. The people that are going through this study, they're having to do their homework and they're starting to have to put it together, and it all ties in. So that's kind of like a plug for small groups in there.
Yeah.
Find one that's going to help you put all these pieces together, and then when you come in on Sunday, things start to make more sense.
Absolutely. Well, the good news is Christ is risen. Christ will come again.
That's right.
Right? So today's message was one I needed to hear because it's really got me thinking about where I place my priorities in my life.
Right.
And I think that is really the overall message to me. That's the great thing about Bible study and sermon study is that it's really more about what it is to you. There's no wrong answer.
No.
Except don't do it. That's the wrong answer.
Right.
You got anything else you want to add today?
I don't have anything.
Nothing?
Nothing at all.
Awesome. I mean, not awesome. If you had something, I would like that too. I have a couple things that I want to add. Number one, first of all, you said small groups, and I want to talk about what we do Sunday mornings. So, of course, every week I plug all of our sermons, but all of our services.
Right.
But before all of those, there's Sunday school, right? Is there a Sunday school before 8 a.m.?
I don't know.
I think it's after. I think it's the Sunday school is like the 8 a.m.ers, I think, go to Sunday school between 8 and 9. Between 9 and 10.
And I think some of the 10:30 people come in with that.
So I think that your Sunday school, hey, you know what? Show up and ask somebody, not me or Derek, about
because
Sunday
I have
school.
no clue at all.
Now, I do know about the kids. So we do a kids' Sunday school downstairs. Heather and I do it every Sunday, 9 o'clock. So we do it between 9 and 10:30. And we go over, so we try to make it to the 8 o'clock service to watch the sermon, and we go over whatever he's going over.
Right. I do know about a small group that meets every Wednesday night at 6:30.
Is that ours?
Yeah.
I'm not in it.
Youth.
Oh yeah. I was thinking.
Hopefully you're.
Wait, I'm the leader of that one. I was like Wednesday night 6:30. I'm busy that night. I don't know, Derek. Yeah. So the youth group meets every Wednesday night. The Mountain Movers. Mm-hmm. They meet every Wednesday night at 6:30. We have dinner, and then we go downstairs for a little bit of worship time. And we're going through the book of Luke right now. So this is going to be right up our alley. I think we're in like chapter 7 or 8 right now.
Yeah. Chapter 8.
But we're getting really deep into Luke, and we're going to go through Luke, and then we'll probably go through another one of the Gospels. I don't know. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet, but we're going to go on a trip to Branson. We do all kinds of really fun stuff. So Derek is like a co-leader. He comes down and helps me out with that every Wednesday. I tell him every week about how good the food is, and I'm not lying.
It's delicious. If you need to come in and eat, bring your kids in and have a meal.
Yep.
I mean, we're here to serve.
That's right. Wednesdays at 6:30 in the small dining room, which is the dining room just off of the fellowship hall.
And every meal is by a member of our congregation, and they donate their time, their services, their skills. And we are very blessed to have people that care so much about our youth here.
I tell everybody, you can't understand a church. I didn't understand the willingness to serve in this area until I became an active member of this church, because we just asked for it. and the church has just exploded. We haven't missed a week. Like, there's been a couple of weeks where Heather and I signed up, right?
Yeah.
And so before us, the kids ate pizza every week, and it came out of the budget, which is fine. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to save the money so that we could put it back into the youth group for other things. And so we put that out there, and we said, hey, can we have a member of the congregation make us food? And man, they have done it every single week, and it is awesome.
It is booked
Yep.
in months in advance. I do want to say, outside of youth, that if you want to come to a place where we serve and we serve others with all of our heart and every passion that we have, come give Memorial United a chance.
Yep.
We are a wonderful church. We love to have people come in, and if you want to get involved, there is a place for you somewhere in this church.
Just ask. I mean, that's the thing. I think that it happened to me before I got involved with this church. I wanted to serve, but I didn't know where to start. Right? We have started already. If you need a place to serve, if you're at home like, man, I just feel like I need to give back, come in and talk to us, because I don't care what your situation is. We can find something for you to do. And I mean that totally and completely. I don't care what your situation is. We'll find something for you to do. Come in. If you don't have money to tithe, that's fine. You can tithe your time. Like we said, we're broke. I'm tithing my time right now. You're witnessing it. Right?
Yeah, right.
So that's the thing. There is something for everybody. You can stand in the mums line. So mums, every week at 5:30, you can stand in the mums line and hand out grilled cheese sandwiches or whatever they're having that week. There is always the United Methodist Women have always got something that they're doing to serve, right?
Right, and because it's service driven, I mean, if you're a high schooler out there and you're in these clubs where you have to do community
Look at
service,
this, man.
Come on in. We'll find a place for you and get
Those
involved.
hours count, right?
Those all count.
Towards the A+.
I think. Smart Kids. Honor Society. I was never in that.
The Scott Marler group.
Yeah, sure.
I was not in Honor Society.
I said smart, not smart aleck.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I always get those confused.
Okay.
Yeah, all those hours count. So if you do that, you join our youth group. You know, we do all kinds of that stuff. We went to Harvest Fest down in Dexter and bagged rice for an entire day, and those hours count. Like the drive and the time spent, like everything counts, right?
Right.
So awesome. But the good thing is that you get a chance to help people, and that makes you feel good. And it's what Jesus calls us to do. So don't forget, every Sunday, come check us out, 8, 9, and 10:30, the gospel service, followed by, that's in the sanctuary, then the rock and roll contemporary service, I call it that, is down in the fellowship hall, and then back up here for the traditional. And there's Sunday school in there somewhere.
And sometimes after.
We don't know. We're not good Sunday school people. I mean, we are. I am. I go to Sunday school.
We go to the Sunday school at 6:30 every Wednesday.
That's right. Jesus is abound here at Memorial United Methodist Church. Come and check us out. Thanks for checking out this podcast. Don't forget, every week, 7:30 a.m. on Facebook, a little bit later on YouTube. Check us out. If you want to be a part of this ministry,
come on in. We'll put you to work.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.